if the opportunity came, I'm like, yeah, I'm taking a chunk out of it. I want a piece of that blade.
This is the last chance I'm going to get at designing a Hypershock for a toy, so it had to be perfect.
They knew that they couldn't really go weapon to weapon, so they went weapon to side of weapon.
We hit the jackpot in Vegas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Outside of the Box. And today, technically, I'm not really hosting this episode because, as you may have seen, we're doing something kind of different because it's the 2-year anniversary of Outside of the Box. And so this time, Ashley is interviewing me. I can promise everyone I have no idea what any of these questions are, so I'm not really prepared at all for anything. So I will let Ashley take over with some questions that were submitted by viewers or fans or builders, and some that Ashley has come up with. So I'm very curious to hear what these questions are.
Well, first of all, happy anniversary. Congratulations on 2 years. Like, that is absolutely amazing. I'm super pumped to be here with you and turning the tides on you a little bit. We will see how this goes because this is not usually my forte, but it's time to have some fun. I will start with our first question from Jonathan Smith, which is I'm sure you can guess this question, but he said, what made you decide to start this podcast? He did say this amazing podcast.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. And I think I've talked about this maybe a little bit. I mean, it may just be more to my friends. I don't know that I've ever really gotten into it too in depth on the show. It's really for a couple of reasons. Number one, first and foremost, as many people know, I have a daughter who I love, and she also loves combat robotics. And this is one of those fields that I think historically, like even for me, I didn't ever think of getting into combat robotics because it's like, well, it's not what girls do. And I don't ever want her to think that she can't do whatever it is that she wants to do. So I think part of this was for me to do something to say, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. That's what your mom's doing. And so, just to show her to not be afraid to put yourself out there and do something. But part of this was also, I have a kind of a background in doing these types of things, not necessarily combat robotics, but I've done both writing and interviews for Survivor way far back in the past. I'm sure if people try and look it up on the internet, they can find it. But that's something that I used to do. My degree is in communications. I really wanted to be like in radio or a journalist or something of that nature. So this really kind of is in line with what I love to do. And I just like talking to people, like finding out about them and why they do what they do, and like about their passions and what they love. It's fascinating to me. So it's really a combination of things. That's a very long way of saying the answer, but that's the answer.
No, that's awesome though, for sure. And Jonathan did say that he really enjoyed being on the podcast and it was an honor. He said he enjoyed coming on and sharing all of his thoughts as a new builder.
I love new builders.
Exactly. He appreciates you and your storytelling abilities and like wanting to hear from all parts of the community, which is like super important. A question for me that kind of ties back to Liv was, so when do we get to have Liv on for an episode?
I am sure that she would love to be on every episode. I have no doubt in my mind. If it was her choice, she would be on every episode. I think that'll happen at some point, maybe when she actually competes, because I know that it's something that she wants to do. It's a matter of trying to figure out what robot is going to be the best for her and make sure that it's the right time for her to start doing that. I will say that, there is a possibility that she may get to do some freestyles in August. which I'm hoping that she gets to do because I'm sure she would love it. She has got to drive Mouse Mouse, so thank you, Tom, for that opportunity of her getting to drive Mouse Mouse, but it will definitely happen. I would love to see a Liv versus Arya matchup at some point in the future. I think that would be fantastic. So
absolutely. I can't wait for the day that Liv comes on and just talks about her own robots and how she's gonna kick everyone's butt because that's totally her mentality. And I love that so much about her. And I mean, I get to experience Liv a lot more than a lot of other people do. And she is just an amazing kid. And I literally cannot wait to see where this sport takes her because I think like she's got enough curiosity behind her that she will do lots of crazy, ridiculous things, but also like be really good. So I can't wait for that.
people should be afraid.
Yeah, no, like they actually should be. Like, I'm not sure I'm ready to play Live. Like, it should be interesting for sure. And then we have a question from Dwight Snowberger, our friend from MCB, Master Control Bot. Absolutely love him. And he says, what aspect of bot building did you find the hardest and how did you overcome it?
That is an easy answer. Anybody
I read that and I was like, oh, I know the answer.
Yes. Anybody who was with me through the process of building Poison Apple knows that I had a lot of trials and tribulations, but I think none frustrated me more than soldering. And I can't say that I've overcome it. I don't think I have. I think that's still something that I'm overcoming, because you know when you haven't done something like that and you're just like, oh well, I want to make sure that these wires are on here good, so I should put as much of this on here as I possibly can to make sure those wires are real good. That doesn't go so well with soldering, and it's probably not something that I should repeat, because I ruined, you know, a couple of Seth's beautiful motors, and so I would not like to do that again. So yes, if I never have to solder again, I think that would probably be for the best.
Yeah. You I applaud the amount of people though that stepped in and tried to like help you learn how to solder, but by the end of it you were just like, yeah, this is not and it's hard. It is not an easy concept, and so like good for you for trying it, but maybe one day we'll all overcome it, but for now we'll just leave it to the people that are really good at it instead.
Yes, that's probably for the best.
And then Dwight also said that as a robot builder and father, I enjoy any episodes that highlight the family aspects of the sport where parents include and inspire their kids to participate. The main example is Lisa Winter's story.
Yes, I have a lot of love for Lisa. I mean, she's absolutely one of my favorite people in combat robotics. You know, everybody knows that. So, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. What made you want to compete?
Well,
Speaking of
so
trials.
that's actually, it's a really good question, because so I am a very competitive person by nature. Again, that's something that I think most people that know me well know that about me. And so it's kind of a surprise that I didn't want to do it sooner, but honestly, the reason I didn't want to do it sooner is because I'm like, I can't build a robot. Like I don't foresee myself being able to do that because I just don't have an engineering type of brain. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm probably not going to be doing that. But as I said in one of my other episodes, if somebody offers you the option to drive a robot, you say yes. And so when very like, you know, surprisingly and out of the blue, David Jin was like, hey, like I have this old robot of mine, I could fix it up and you can name it and everything and you can drive it and compete with it. I was like, yes. Like why would I say no to that? The worst that happens is I go out there and I don't drive well and I lose a couple of fights, but like got to say that I had the experience of driving a robot, and I fully expected that that was what was going to happen. Because I've never even really driven RC cars. Like, it just wasn't a thing that I did when I was growing up. So I'm like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. But I don't know if it was that competitive instinct that kicked in, where I'm just like, I'm gonna figure this out. And after I won that first fight, I was like, I want to win more fights. Like, I would like to keep winning. And so I just did, like, I figured it out. And I really think, I go back to getting the opportunity to fight Joe Fabiani in Inside Job, well, really fighting Joe and Brandon, because they were both operating aspects of the robot. I was like, I'm fighting BattleBots builders. And my first thought was, I'm definitely going to lose. And then when I saw that like losing was just on the horizon, like David was about to tap out, I was like, no, I'm not losing. I'm not going to do that. And so it just like kicked in, it just turned on, and I was like, I am gonna win this whatever the heck I have to do. And I did. And I think that one in particular really gave me the confidence to be like, I think that I drive okay. And if I could somehow find a way to build a robot, then maybe I can do that. So I really think it was just, more than anything, the confidence and support that you, Ashley, and like pretty much everyone in our friend group gave me, to be like, hey, we can help you, you've got this, you could do it. It was a cool opportunity to do something that's really creative and like uniquely mine, and then like move forward with it. And I just, once I got one, then I was like, but I have these other ideas and I'd really like to execute on these other ideas. And so that's kind of what I've been doing.
I will never forget when you walked upstairs and you looked me dead in the eye and you were like, I won. And I was like so immensely just proud. And like in my head, I immediately was like, well, now she's never gonna stop. Like, this is literally just the beginning. And so like to see you have now like a couple robots and like new projects that you may or may not be working on. I'm not sure how much you want to share, but like it's just like incredible to see like where that was, with just being like, oh, I'm gonna drive someone else's robot, to, oh, I want my own robot. And like it's just one of those like fan to builder stories that just like is always so inspiring. Like that's obviously like where I came from too. And so like it's just so cool to see like what you're doing and how your brain works, and like how you just keep evolving. And like I'm super excited for to like watch you keep competing.
Well, and the funny thing is, now it's not even like, yes, I care about winning because I'm competitive and that's just, I can't help it. But I really, more than anything, I just want to be able to fight matches. Like, I just want to be able to fight people. I don't care if it's freestyle, I don't care what it is. I just want to have the fights to see what happens. And I think that was one of the most fun things in January was, getting out of the bracket. And then I'm like, let's just see who I think has a robot that would be really interesting to match up against, and being able to do a couple of those freestyles. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome for sure. So switching gears away from more of the building side and more on the podcast side, which one do I want to ask first? What is your favorite? Like, I know that you've done like these like side projects with STEM and other things like that. So like, which one is like the favorite that you've done?
You mean that's not robot related?
That's not robot related. Yeah.
That is a difficult question for me, because it's like, with my podcast episodes in general, it's like asking me to choose between my children. Like, I love them all for different reasons, so it's very difficult to say. But I mean, I think that what was the most rewarding for me was getting to essentially, for a temporary period of time, partner with Carrie Byron's media company, Explore Media, and get to interview all of these kids that are, participating in the National STEM Challenge and have been selected as champions, and kind of hearing about all of their different projects. Because I mean, I'm sitting here and these kids are in high school, sometimes even younger, like closer to junior high age. And I'm like, my gosh, these kids are smarter than I'll ever be. And they're like not even adults yet. It's just insane to me. And I think those stories and getting to hear what they're doing gave me such a boost of hope for humanity, that these kids, like so young, are coming up with these big ideas to solve really major problems in our world, and that they actually like care about that. They're not just like looking at their high school relationships or whatever else is going on. Like their worldview is so much bigger. And I think that that's amazing to like know that there's so many young people that have that kind of mindset and mentality, and that's something that they really want to do. So that was a very, very rewarding thing for me to have the opportunity to do.
Yeah, absolutely. All of those stories were just so incredible. And like, I look at myself when I was that age, and like, yeah, I was involved in like FIRST Robotics and like a little bit of stuff here and there, but the levels in which they're just like thinking and moving and doing is just absolutely insane. And so it's really, really like cool that were able to just showcase their stories and give them a platform that was like away from just like a presentation on a whiteboard type of situation.
Yes, exactly. I mean, they're already on a pretty big stage, nationally, getting to go to Washington D.C. and like present to all of these really major experts in their fields and stuff. But it's still, I think, for all of them, they felt like celebrities for 15 to 20 minutes to get to be on a podcast and talk about these amazing projects. So I was very honored to be able to give them that.
Absolutely. Do you have any new projects that you have coming up that aren't robot related, or not really yet?
I mean, there's always stuff potentially in the works. I think most of what I'm doing right now is robot related. However, there are certain, celebrities in some nerdy spaces that I've been talking to about coming on the podcast. Or, even with some of the STEM stuff, there's a couple of folks that have been doing some really wild things in STEM spaces. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I hope that I can make some of those happen in the future.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it because I love your content. So I will watch whatever you do.
You're
You
biased, Ashley.
I might be biased just a little, but it's okay. It's because I love you and I support everything that you do. Is there anyone in the robot space that you haven't interviewed yet that you really want to?
Oh, there's a
You
few.
guys totally-
There's definitely a few. I may have posted something about this like a few weeks back or something, but I mean, everybody knows, number one, that I really badly want to have Daniel Freitas on this podcast. He is my favorite driver. Minotaur is my favorite robot. Like, I would just love the opportunity to talk to Daniel and, hear about his take on, like what goes through his mind when he's driving in a match, if he even remembers. I mean, he might just be so in the zone that it's hard to like verbalize that later on. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely at the top of my list. I'd love to talk to Paul Ventimiglia from Byte Force, just because I mean, he's such a legend in combat robotics. And I mean, I think it would be really interesting to hear about any new ideas that he may have, outside of Byte Force, because I mean, I think that robot was great for what it did, but I definitely don't see it coming back in that same iteration, because I mean, time has passed, and like it maybe time for something new, but it would be kind of curious to hear about that. And then, probably another person high on the top of my list is Mark Satrakian, because I mean, like, Stalker is one of the coolest robots that I've ever seen in my life, and he's done so many amazing things as well. So, like, I've had a lot of people on, to be fair. Like, I've had just about every team that there is on the show. But I would say that those folks are definitely pretty high on my list.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel, I literally didn't even think of Daniel Freitas because in my head it's the default answer. Like, but like, I'm like, yeah, obviously. But is there anybody that you've interviewed but you haven't met in person yet that you really want to?
That's a good question because I don't know. I mean, I went to BattleBots last year and I met everyone. So like I mean maybe like because I'm trying to think of people that necessarily haven't gone to BattleBots. I mean, I obviously recently had the guys from Hacksmith Industries on. It would be cool. Like, I know that they told me, like if I wanted to take a trip up to Canada and check out their facility, 100%. If I get my passport, like, man, I get a chance to do that, I would love to do that, because I think that they just do some really cool things. And I think Nick from Manta would be another one that it would be really cool to like meet him and check out Manta in person, because Manta's just like such an insanely good robot, at least what we've seen of it so far. And I'm so excited to see what it can do at BattleBots. I mean, it's exactly the type of robot that I generally tend to like. So I think that he'd be a really cool person to get to meet as well.
Heck yeah. I mean, especially like now that you have that interaction too. So like you got to get your passport. You got to go see it. You got to see what they're up to. I need all the inside details. Okay.
Yes.
Send them my way. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right. Another fan question from Mr. Craig Danby, who literally says he's just a fan. He's not a robot builder. He's nothing else. He's just a fan of your show.
Craig's never built anything.
Never ever in his life. Brand new to combat robotics. Wants to know when you're coming to North Carolina to see G-Force. That
is a great question, and one that I am certain Liv asks me at least once a week, because she would love I think I've told Craig this. She thinks that she's part of the team. Like, she thinks that she's on the team. I mean, in spirit, like I'm sure. But I think that might be possibly a next year thing, because supposedly there's a really big event that's happening next year that's supposed to be really cool, and that seems to be the thing to go to. So that might be where I'm aiming for. She'll be a little bit older. I mean, not that she can understand things now, but like still, I think that's probably when that's going to happen.
That's awesome. Let me know, because I'll totally just meet you in North Carolina.
Yeah, just come down we'll all hang out together.
Exactly. It'll be great. And then Craig said that his favorite memory was when you guys lost Jason on your call about Proof.
For people that watch that episode, the Proving Grounds episode, you could kind of tell that something was going on even with the edited version of that. But it was pretty funny. It just all of a sudden, poof, gone. And then then he came back, and then it was like he was in two different windows for a while. There was a lot going on. It was pretty funny. I don't know that it's the craziest like technical issue that I've ever had on the show, but it was pretty entertaining, I have to say.
That's great. I read that and I was like, I don't think I heard that story. Gotta love technology sometimes. It's totally okay. And then our last fan question from Aunt Borello says, who's your favorite Pokemon and why? This is a very important question. He said, I know it's not BattleBots related, but it could lead to it. see what we can do.
There is a dual answer. I mean, there's my favorite Pokemon, and then there's the Pokemon that I will say is my favorite Pokemon just to antagonize my boyfriend. So the true answer of what my favorite Pokemon is probably going to have to be Dratini. And that is because I love dragons, and it's like a cute little blue baby dragon-ish type of thing. Very close. It's kind of like the Minotaur Sawblaze argument. I always go back and forth between Dratini and Eevee for very different reasons, and so it's really hard to say. But I will add that I often like to suggest that my favorite Pokemon is Moltres, because my boyfriend's, well, his favorite legendary bird is Zapdos, who is terrible, by the way. I just have to say, Zapdos is the worst Pokemon in the world. And so I have to say that Moltres is my favorite, just to make sure that I drive the point home of how terrible Zapdos is.
That is fantastic. I don't ever think I've heard that full answer, and it makes it just that much better. So do we get to have Jimmy on for an episode?
So that may be a thing for people who don't know about the upcoming August NHRL event. I'm not giving away too much about my entry yet, although I mean I've published in the Discord, so for anybody who's a builder, they know I am bringing a 12-pound robot called Pie Section. And I'm very excited about it because I really want to actually do some damage. You know, like I'm always the one that like, it's like my robot it's good and they're durable and they hold up well, but I don't really do any damage. And I'm tired of seeing Corey break other people's faces all the time, and I would like to do that too. So I'm bringing Pie Section, which, funny enough, Corey has told me that he is also bringing his 12-pound synthesis. So we'll see what happens there. But because I am driving a 12, I am also bringing Apple Turnover. However, I am not driving Apple Turnover. Jimmy is driving Apple Turnover. So there may be something to talk about after that to kind of see how his first actual combat driving experience goes.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely an episode that needs to happen. I want to hear all about Jimmy's experience as a first-time driver. He's been so supportive of being by your side with all of your ideas. So for you to hand the reins over, like I can't wait to watch. I hope I get to see his matches because I think it's gonna be absolutely hilarious.
Yep, I'm like, good luck, babe. Just, you know, hopefully you get some favorable matchups there and, you know, all of that. But we'll see. I'm sure he'll probably do better than me. I mean, he's more experienced with the controllers and driving things and stuff like that. So I think he'll be fine.
And then Ant said that his favorite episode was the Ripperoni interview. It looked like you all had a great time talking to each other, and it solidified his love for Ripperoni.
Well, we all have a lot of love for Ripperoni. Yeah, I mean that's probably one of my favorite things is I think sometimes with these episodes, like I know that they're going to be fun because they always are, but then there are some that just surprise me at how much fun they end up being. And you know, I love to kind of have a new guest on that's never been on and see how they react to just the way that things go on the show, especially with the round tables, because I mean, you've sat in on a round table, you've been on a round table, so you know how crazy they can get. I will always go back and say I think even though the team stamina one, like it definitely had its moments, but the round table that we did for finals last year was like insane. It was hilarious and it was the best time. So
yeah, no, the round tables are so much fun. I love them. of the people that you've interviewed, is there anyone you want to interview again now that time has passed?
Everyone, no. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've had on my show multiple times, and obviously, like, that's for a reason. Those are definitely people that I've really enjoyed interviewing. But I'm trying to think if there's anybody that I've only had on once that I would want to have back on. I mean, technically, Kazia's been on my show a couple of times, but only like once solo. So I mean, I love talking to her. I think that she's such an amazing builder, and I love Chainsaw Kitty, so like that would be fun. I mean, it's been a while since I've had Lisa Winter on, and I mean, like, Lisa's one of my heroes, so obviously, like, I'd love to have her back on. um Gosh, like, there's just so many people. I still really need to do a Hypershock episode because, yes, Will Bales has been on as part of a roundtable. However, it would be really fun to have him and Alex on together. So that is something that I would really love to do. But yeah, I mean, like, I love everyone. So it's really hard to be like, yes, I want these specific people back on, because I mean, like, I just enjoy talking to people. So
Love everyone. No, I appreciate that for sure. What are you most looking forward to for the June 1st Teams event?
oh gosh, I'm jealous that I don't get to be there. I think this is the coolest thing. Not just doing it as teams, but I mean, they all have their own jerseys, like, they all have team names, like, it's all themed out. And anybody who like, I love the theming probably more than most things in the sport. It is just the most fun thing ever. Because I'm such like a theatrical person, and like the costumes and like, I love all of that stuff inherently. And so this is a thing that I love. So I really think it's just getting to see like how it ends up going. Like, if there's more competitiveness because it's a team thing, and there's going to be, this team's going to be like, no, I'm going to beat that team. And I'm curious to see if there's more of like a friendly, like, healthy competitive type of thing going on at this event, and just seeing how it all plays out. But yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I was in our magnitude chat today and I was like, oh, Luke and Chad are just coming to Connecticut to fight each other. I'm just kidding. I hope they stay away from each other. Just kidding. But it is like such a cool event, and like, we don't have all of the teams announced yet. So like, there's still some like huge heavy hitters that are left in the playing field, I feel like. So I'm really curious to see like all of them get announced. And like, I love the jerseys. I need to buy a Team Pandemonium one, like, no questions asked. Like, when they come out in the shop, if that's still a thing, I'm buying.
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm like, take my money, I want to buy all the jerseys.
Literally give me all of them. I'm just gonna say, besides the August NHRL event, do you have any other events coming up that you're going to?
I do. I am going to the MRCA event on June the 1st, and I'm bringing Poison Apple. So we'll see. It's not even functional right now, so I probably better get on that pretty soon, and make sure that it's functional. But I'm excited to get to do something MRCA related, because Ethan and DJ have been bugging me forever, and I'm like, okay, this one's like 2 hours away from me. I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it.
Heck yes. I can't wait to hear all about it. I'll be watching as much as I can. Hopefully it's a day that I'm not super busy.
Yes, it should be a lot of fun.
For sure. That's all the questions that I have for you.
Well, I mean, those were some good questions. I have to say, there was stuff that I didn't expect there, for sure. Well, I thank everyone for the questions that they submitted, because I do appreciate it. I'm glad people had some things that they wanted to know about. But I think more than anything, I've said this time and time again, but just like, to everyone that has ever supported the show, continues to support the show, like likes what I'm doing, I'm very appreciative of that. And I think more than anything, really, like the builder community, because I recognize that most of my subscribers are probably builders. And so from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate the love and the, desire to come on and like talk about these things with me. I'm not a professional at this by any means yet. But I'm working on it. I'm getting there. And so I'm just so thankful that people love to come on and talk about combat robotics and the thing that they all love to do. Because I really love to talk about it if people hadn't noticed. So and to Ashley especially, because I mean, we met when you were a guest on the show, and I think, from there we just formed this amazing friendship. And I don't think that this show would really be what it is today without you having kind of gone along that journey with me. So that I appreciate you and just am so thankful for that.
I was gonna try not to cry, but you had to get me at the end there. Of course. Listen, I'm so proud of you, and I've loved being on this journey with you. The last year and a half of our friendship has been incredible for me on so many levels, and I'm forever grateful for you. So I appreciate you letting me come on and ask you these questions and kind of turning the tides a little bit. And I don't know what we're gonna do next, but I can't wait to find out.
I'm sure we're gonna do some things. Knock on every piece of wood possible. With luck, there will be battle bots this year. And if there's battle bots this year, that means there's gonna be more battle bots breakdowns. And if not, well, there's NHRL breakdowns. There's all kinds of other things that we can be doing. So I mean, everybody knows I have an insane recording schedule most of the time. I've surpassed 200 episodes. I probably hit that 200 episode mark right about at the 2-year mark, which is, I'm told, is an insane amount of content. That's normal to me, but I've been told by a lot of other people that's quite a few episodes. So I'm trying to pace myself a little bit now, just to make sure, that we're getting, I think, the content that people want, and just trying to improve it bit by bit. Plus, if I'm building robots, that I probably should take some time and do that if I want them to be good. So but yeah, it's a lot of stuff, and I'm so excited to keep doing it, and I can't even believe that we're still here at this point, but I'm excited that we are. So
Yes, definitely. I can't wait for the next 2+ years or however many you decide you want to do.
we'll see what happens. But yeah, for everybody that's watching, again, thank you. Please make sure you keep supporting. If you haven't subscribed already, now's a really great time. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers, and I'd really, really love to hit that milestone. So
yeah, I want to win a kit. I need a kit bot. I gotta win it. Come on, guys, let's get to 1,000.
Yeah, I'm not giving away that ant kit until it happens. So let's get there. I will commit to whenever that happens. I know I said May 1st, and we didn't quite get there, but when that happens, I'm gonna give it away. So let's get there. Then the sooner the better, and someone's gonna win an amazing ant weight kit from Palm Beach Bots. So just keep watching. We have some really great episodes coming your way here very soon, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see everybody next time on the show.